What's going on, guys? So here in San Diego, California, there's a zoo that is probably the most famous zoo in the world. The San Diego Zoo, but it's also the most expensive zoo in the world. But to me, this zoo is worth every penny. And here at the San Diego Zoo, they have one of the most amazing reptile houses of any zoo in the country. So in this video, I'm going to take you guys all on a tour of the reptiles that are found right here at the San Diego Zoo. I'm Dave Kaufman, and these are my Reptile Adventures. We have come to my favorite place in any zoo. This is the Reptile House. And look what they have right as soon as you walk in. Holy crap, I have not seen one of these in a zoo before. This may be the second, maybe third one of these I've ever seen. This is an Ethiopian mountain adder. And these are only found in a small range way up in the mountains in Ethiopia. And this is what every reptile fanatic in the world wants to go to Ethiopia to find. And these guys are venomous, and they are just absolutely amazing. And over here, we've got Mengshen vipers. And these guys are from China. And here at the zoo, they house the largest group of Mengshen vipers outside of China. And they're the first and only zoo to hatch this species. That is just amazing. And these guys are really big vipers. And they live in a small little range up in the mountains in China. I really got to get to China and find these in the wild one day. And over here they have a banded king cobra. So king cobras look different depending on what geographic variation they come from, and their venom is also specific to the region that they come from. So if you get bit by a king cobra in southern Thailand and they only have anti-venin for king cobras in northern Thailand, it's not going to work for you. But these guys are called king cobras because they eat other snakes. These are probably the most intelligent snakes out there. And here we have my all-time favorite rattlesnake. That is a timber rattlesnake. It's also called a canebrake rattlesnake, and when you have that red stripe down its back like that, that is conducive of a canebrake rattlesnake. Most timber rattlesnakes from up in the north, like from Minnesota across to Michigan, New England, they won't have that red stripe that this guy has. But this is the only species of rattlesnake native to my home state of Minnesota, and that is why this is my favorite rattlesnake, and that's a gorgeous one. Right in here we have an Indian python that's related to the Burmese python, but as you can see, the head coloration is a little bit different than a Burmese python, but they've got this whole enclosure just for this dude. That is a gorgeous snake. And right here we have one of the coolest rattlesnakes on the planet. This is a Santa Catalina Island rattlesnake, and these are rattlesnakes that are found on Santa Catalina Island off the coast of Baja, Mexico. And these guys have actually degenerated their rattles because they don't need them anymore on the island. And they come in two color phases. They come in the brown color phase like this, and right over there, they come in the white color phase. And when I was out on the island of Santa Catalina Island to find these, I found that both white phase and brown phase were just as common. But if you look, these snakes just have a little button of a rattle. They have completely degenerated their rattle, and they're the only rattlesnake species to do that. And right here we have a lizard that I really want to start working with. This is a blue tree monitor, and tree monitors come in green, yellow, black, and blue phases. And right up there we've got a green basilisk. And that's a male, and you can tell that they're male because of those huge sails that it has, that fin on its head, on its back, and on its tail. Females do not have fins that big, or sails. Fins, sails, either way is fine. But that is definitely a very proud male, and look at that enclosure that they have for him. Nice big enclosure, a water source. And I see in that water source an anaconda. That's a hide-and-seek anaconda right there. And here we have a Crotalus adamantius. This is the biggest rattlesnake in the world. And these guys are from the southeastern United States. This is the most dangerous snake in the United States, not because the venom is so potent, but because they're so big that they can deliver a huge amount of it. And that makes them the most dangerous snake in the United States. And right here we have a black-headed bushmaster. This is one that I have been looking for in the wild for a long time. And these are the most northerly ranging bushmasters. These get all the way up into Costa Rica, and that's a really awful shot of a bushmaster, but there he is. And here is one of my favorite vipers from West Africa. I found these when I was in Ghana. That is a gaboon viper. And just look at that cryptic coloration. These guys disappear in plain sight. And one of the most beautiful pythons in the world, that is a Boleyn's python. Look at that iridescence on them. These guys are from the mountains of New Guinea. We're still trying to crack the code on how to breed these, and a few people have been able to breed these, but as of right now, they're not readily available, but they will be soon. But these are just the most beautiful pythons on the planet. And hiding back there is the worst shot of a graze monitor ever filmed in a zoo. But this monitor lizard is the only vegetarian monitor in the world. And these guys are, well, they're kind of awesome, except, you know, you can't really tell in this shot. All right, we are heading in to Komodo Kingdom, where I fully expect to see a Komodo dragon. And there he is.
Morph Market is the #1 online marketplace for all your reptiles and amphibians. You can search through over 60 categories to find your perfect new pet, whether it's the latest boa constrictor morph or your 150th crested gecko. It's all right here at one place, Morph Market.
I absolutely love Komodo dragons. These guys are the most gentle, intelligent lizards on the planet. So aside from the Reptile House, they also have the Reptile Walk. We're going in. All right, so here we have amphibians on one side, California native species on the other. Let's check this out. So down here we've got fire salamanders. These guys are the coolest salamanders found in Europe, and they are found throughout Europe, and there's different fire salamanders depending on where you are in Europe. These guys are so cool. So this is a Panamanian golden frog, and these guys have a really awesome story. So there's a fungus that's just tearing through amphibian populations in Central America. Well, researchers went to Panama, captured every single golden frog in Panama, distributed them throughout zoos of the world to save the species from the chytrid fungus. And when the chytrid fungus is under control, every single one of these frogs will be released back into the wild in Panama. That is one awesome way to save a frog species. Just across the way from the amphibians, we get to the native California reptiles. This is a rosy rat snake. These are a Central American species that only occur in like maybe a couple of counties in Arizona and maybe a couple of counties in California. These guys are really amazing rat snakes, and apparently camera shy. So this is a San Diego gopher snake, and this is one of my favorite gopher snakes. And these guys are found only down here in San Diego, and then they're replaced by the Pacific gopher snake as you get further north, and then other gopher snakes as you get further east. But these guys have just this really awesome contrasty pattern. I just love these snakes. And these guys are pretty common down here in San Diego, actually. And then stuffed in this tube right there is a coastal rosy boa. And the United States actually has two species of boas. The rosy boa, which is this one, and there's also the rubber boa, which is found north of here. And that one actually ranges so far north, they actually get into Canada. But down here in California, we've got the rosy boas. So far this has been the coolest reptile exhibit I've seen at a zoo, but I don't think we're done yet. As a matter of fact, I hope we're not done. Oh no, I see more up here. So right over there, we've got Galapagos tortoises, but not a lot of people know that each island in the Galapagos has its own species of Galapagos tortoises. And one of the cool things about this display is that each one of these enclosures has a different species of Galapagos tortoises depending on which island they're found on. And I've never seen a display like this at a zoo where they actually have different enclosures for each individual species of Galapagos tortoise. This is the coolest thing I've ever seen. So here's a map of the Galapagos. So every one of these islands has its own tortoise species. But in this enclosure, we've got the Santa Cruz Island tortoise. And over here, we've got the Sierra Negra tortoise, another species of Galapagos tortoise. And there they are right there. So this is a rock iguana, and rock iguanas are land-dwelling iguanas that are found all over the Caribbean. So there's rhinoceros iguanas in the Dominican Republic, and this one is found on Grand Cayman Island. And this is called the Grand Cayman Island blue iguana. Over here we've got some gharials. Those guys are super cool. So these guys will sit in the sun and open their mouth like that, and that's how they thermoregulate and basically cools them off. It's basically the same as a dog panting, but gharials can't pant. All right, so in here we've got turtles. Not that guy. So we start out with Parker's snake neck turtles. Snake neck turtles are named snake neck turtles. I'm not exactly sure why. Over here we've got spotted turtles. These are the coolest turtles, and these guys have such a small little range in the upper Midwest. These are one of my favorite North American turtles. So there are two types of alligators in the world. The ones we have here in the United States, the American alligator, and that guy, the Chinese alligator. And these guys are critically endangered, while our American alligators used to be critically endangered, and now they range in the millions. And hopefully with the help of conservation organizations, we can get these guys back into the millions as well. And right here is not part of any exhibit. That is a green anole, and that's actually a non-native species here in California. These are now found in the wild here in California, and this one is found right here in the zoo grounds, and apparently he ate something that doesn't agree with him. But these are actually native to the southeastern United States, and somehow they found their way to here in Southern California, where they have now established a population here in Southern California. And right over here in this enclosure, we've got a brown Burmese mountain tortoise. And I used to have a black Burmese mountain tortoise. He was much smaller than this one, but these are still my favorite tortoises. And right here, we have the human exhibit. Behold the human retreating to her hide box. That woman hates me right now.
So guys, I just want to take a real quick moment to thank all of my Patreon supporters. I sincerely appreciate all of your support. For as little as $3 a month, you can get early access to videos, lots of merch, tons of other stuff. If you'd like to become a Patreon supporter and help support this channel, I would sincerely appreciate it. That link is in the description below. And guys, as always, thanks for watching, and until the next reptile adventure, love the planet, feed your reptile obsession, and rattle on.